Hi everyone. So in this video I'm going to be talking about the image, the human face, our faces, our cheeks, our nose, our eyes, our eyebrows, our mouth, the human face. So there's two dimensions I want to talk about. There's a dimension where your face doesn't really matter, it doesn't really define you as a person. The other dimension is how your actual self, your mind, your emotions, your feelings, your patterns, your habits, your history, your personalities actually form and shape your face over time. So here's these two dimensions where your face does not really define who you are. There's the dimension of actually your face is a reflection of who you are. And so let's look at, how about let's start with what's the difference, The difference here being that, when you try putting up, let's say, makeup and like try to clean your face and I don't know, do stuff with your face, like lose weight or whatever, to have skinnier cheekbones or, I don't know, make certain smiles to appear a certain way or I don't know, stuff like that. Where it's you purposely use your face, you change how it looks, you manipulate it, you use it for a purpose so that you want to present a good presentation of yourself for other people to see you. And of course, on this other dimension here, you have the reality, which is, who you are, right? So here I'm also not talking, say, presenting yourself is bad. That's not what it's about. That's not what I'm really saying. It's about this point, okay. Who are you really? Are you actually working on who you are? Are you actually working on improving yourself? Is that really part of who you are? Because you could either be working on improving yourself or not. That's the question. Are you working on yourself, who you are, or are you not? For every single person on this planet Earth, they will have an answer. That's yes or no. It's very clear. Now, sometimes when people say no, that they're not working who they are, they actually try to look for who they are, I guess you could say, try to fulfill that hole, which they're not doing, through their appearance, through how they look, to generate some sort of feeling, some sort of value of themselves, some sort of self-esteem or some sort of experience of value, Instead of actually working who they are, they look for that experience within changing how they look, within, that sort of presenting themselves in a good way to receive good feedback in order to feel better. Because in reality, if you work on who you are, it takes years, of course, and you develop yourself and you have that self-stand and your self-value and that self-worth, you will always have that value. You will always have that self-esteem. You always have that care, honor, regard, because you know who you are, and that's and that fulfills that hole, you could say, and that fulfills that point. And then, so what becomes of the face? What becomes of expression with makeup, with how you present your face, your smile? All that then becomes simply a point of you. Now these 2 points merge together, where it's just you expressing yourself. It's just you, as you already have yourself established who you are, and you're just moving yourself. You're just expressing yourself as a certain way, not for a purpose of trying to feel better, but simply because you enjoy that expression. You enjoy looking a certain way. You enjoy creating that moment. That's a big difference than you actually lacking who you are within yourself and trying to find that within your appearance. It's a big difference. That's why it always comes down to that question. Who are you? Are you actually working on improving yourself? Yes or no? You're actually changing. Are you actually evolving, developing, moving, becoming better? That's always a yes or no answer. Question, answer. And that's even something that will depend on your very moment, in this moment right now, where moment by moment you may choose to change your answer. That happens. Some people are more fickle. In some moments they're pushing for change, in other moments they're not. But the question always is in this moment, who are you? Are you actually changing or actually improving? And so, etc. and so forth. So the other dimension here is how our faces actually over time get formed and shaped, like the actual muscle, the skin, tissues, the cells. They actually get formed and shaped into certain structures in certain positions that are, let's say, more comfortable, more natural because of that, let's say, emotional presence, that emotion that it embodies, that it becomes. For example, like for me, I know the emotion of sadness. I've expressed it very well in my face, where if very easily I can feel my lips going down, being sad. And that's something I lived for many years growing up, where I just didn't like where I was, my environment. I felt sad, I felt like no one understood me. And then so my face became that way. Very easily, very naturally. I had like a sad face. Like a long face. And so I recognize that and I can sense that. I can feel that within my skin, within my muscles, within my lips, within my cheeks right here. I can feel that. I was very easily able to do that. And in moments where I actually was very sad, I would move in that way, reactively in that moment, instantly, as my face. So I know that from my own relationship with myself, and I can recognize that within my face. So that's one example. And there's many more examples can exist, with the eyes, with the eyebrows, even in just certain moments, when you have an emotion, your face changes. And so that is something that is on the physical level, and that is something that is here. You could say it's real because it's already here with the physical. And yeah, it's the mind on the physical level, right in your face. And the question here is that a reflection of who you are? Yes and no, because it's actually who you are here in this moment. No, in the sense that your emotions, your feelings, your patterns, your habits, they can be changed. They have been accepted and allowed for many, many years, and they have become part of who you are. But who you are, by nature, by definition, is someone that can change. That's part of being alive. We're able to change who we are. So, in that moment when you're actually feeling sad, there's two different types of reactions. Some people can, or I guess three. Or you can either go into the sadness. You can suppress it and try to go into the opposite. Let's say the opposite, the extreme of being happy. You don't want to feel sad. You want to hide it. And then there's other option actually, where you decide not to enter into that moment with the sadness, where you recognize, okay, this moment here of sadness, in this moment, right? It's a point of manipulation of myself. It's a point of a lesser version of myself. I recognize that this is not who I really want to be, and this is not really honoring me in this moment. Where that's one example in that moment where you actually move out of that sadness and actually decide who you are in that moment, your expression. Now, there's actually another moment of sadness where sadness is actually simply a release for a moment, where you cry and you release that sadness, and it's just for a moment and then it's gone, where you release. But there's also another kind of sadness, which is the first one I mentioned, where it becomes a point of manipulation, where you, for example, become sad in order to manipulate another person. You become depressed so you can get attention. That's one form of sadness that exists, that people use as a form of manipulation of the people of their environment. Another form of sadness is simply feeding off the energy within going into memories, within wanting to basically hold on to a lot of positive things that they perceive that they lost and they want to hold on to. Usually it's a relationship thing, or some other thing that's really positive for them. And so they enter into, like, I went through this before, so I'm speaking from experience, where you enter into like sometimes even weeks of just going into sadness again and again because you want to relive the happiness. And it's a really selfish kind of thing in a way, but at the same time it's very self-consuming, where you really consume. It's almost as if you're consuming your own body in a way. You're eating off all your energy of your day. You're eating off your memories, you're eating off your emotions, your feelings, and it's like you're devouring yourself in that moment. And that's very much more of an internal thing, because it's not about really manipulating another person. It's about you trying to selfishly going into your energies, into your emotions, and just devouring yourself, because that gives you a sense of feeling alive. That gives you a sense of feeling good. Even if it's with the negative, it's still that energy that comes from the positive. So all that, if you go to that pattern many years, you're gonna see changes in the face. You're gonna see like the face maybe going lower, like this. You may see like so many different expressions. I just know mine better. And in that sense, we are more or less more unique. But then again, even our facial expressions, they're still repeated. They're still copied from other people. They're still within the same system of humanity, of the mind, where we'll still repeat the same kind of facial structures. But for each of us, there's a slight, difference, where some of us may have a more predominantly sad, expression, or others may be predominantly more happy. But within the happiness, it's usually a point of just suppression, where you suppress what you feel and you present a happiness on your face. Or it could be fear. Like with fear, it's like your eyebrows go together a lot because you're always afraid, you're always worried. For example, you go on and on, and looking for examples. So this is one cool thing to walk, which is your own face, your own emotions, your own feelings. Where in a moment, if you feel yourself getting angry, you can look in the mirror and see, what does your face look like in the moment. And also support to see, okay, when you're actually stable, when everything's actually fine, you're actually calm, what does your face look like? So you have more of a baseline. For some people, though, their baseline of their face will actually already hold emotions because they've been on this earth for so many years that their face, what is supposed to be like normal, natural, comfortable, resting face, you could say your face is just resting. It's actually already been shaped and formed to look like angry or annoyed or irritated or sad or whatever it may be. So here we are looking at the face. We looked at the two dimensions in this video, the dimensions of how your face actually represents a lot of who you are, your patterns, and also how we tend to use our face to make it look better, look good, in a way kind of suppress who we are, because then that gives us a feeling of feeling good or feeling nice. When in reality, it always comes to that question: who are you actually improving yourself, or actually developing yourself, actually fulfilling your real need of self, of existing as a person on this earth, who has willpower, who has choice, who has ability to create their life. And unfortunately, most of us, like 99.9999% of us, are in that position where we just don't have that really established, where we're just simply been repeating our past histories from our parents, from society, from teachers, from everyone before us, and we've just been living that since childhood, and it's always been living in a reactive kind of state. So here's this point for today, to share, to learn. So yeah, look at Desteni. Look at Desteni, the website, Desteni, the group of people. Look at the courses, the material where it's about self, who we are, how to change, having the tools to change, self-forgiveness, self-honesty, self-responsibility, writing, and to actually be able to take yourself like a canvas and actually paint who you are, to actually create yourself, to create your life. And look at the process of the School of Ultimate Living with living words, where it becomes like the colors that you use to paint yourself with, to actually make something of yourself with your own hands, by your own definition, by your own movement, by your own creation. Because that's really would be freedom, right? That's actually would be what it means to be free, to be alive, and be a human being, really. So let's see what happens. So thanks very much. Bye.